Understanding, cultivating, and maximizing the given talents and abilities we possess is the key to living and performing above the social norm. Join best-selling author, keynote speaker, and resilience trainer Rodney Flowers as he shares impactful insights, tools, and strategies to assist in creating and achieving optimal results in your life and your business. Adopt the game changer mentality.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Game Changer Mentality podcast. I am your host, Rodney Flowers, best-selling author, keynote speaker, and resilience trainer. And like always, I am excited to be here with you today for another episode. And I have a beautiful, lovely guest with me who's going to share some insight, share her story with you. I love this lady. She's amazing. Her name is Katerina. She is Hollywood-based. She has a TV show, talk show, LA 40. She has a new book, Rising Up from Mental Slavery, How to Unleash Your Infinite Potential. And guess what? It is number one on the bestseller charts right now, and she is changing lives across the United States. High energy. My sister, Katerina Cozias. How you doing, lady?
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to be here on the program with you.
Oh, and I am delighted to have you here. It's been a long time. We've been trying to set this up for a while. And finally, we are together. And so I just want to welcome you to the show, lady. Welcome.
Absolutely. I love the show because I love the concept of the show. It's so important. Anything to do with this kind of conversation, like, let's go.
Well, you know, I'm all about, just as you, changing lives. And I believe that starts in your mind. And so you've just released this new book, Rising Up from Mental Slavery. And so we're just colliding and clashing all over each other right now. And I just love that because in the world, we need people to change their mindset. I mean, I think because there's so much poverty, a lot of people want to accomplish their dreams. They want to be better. They want to have an impact, but they can't do it because of their mindset. Mindset is everything. And so tell us about this new book, Rising Up from Mental Slavery. Talk to us.
And that's what it is, right? Everything is mental, and we have a choice, Rodney, you know this, to think what we want to think. So if we're thinking thoughts that are keeping us down, then we're the ones keeping ourselves in mental slavery, right? But the point is we are all endowed with these amazing abilities, right? Whether it's creativity, reason, imagination, willpower, and, you know, the will. And we've got to tap into them and use them to get ourselves to live the life we really want to live.
And so let's talk about it. Let's dive a little deeper because a lot of people may know that they say, yeah, I need to tap into my willpower. I need to tap into my creativity, but I don't know how to do that. So how? I mean, I think that's what's really missing, right? That's where the disconnect is. People know they have these things. So a person may say, well, you just mentioned imagination. Well, how do I use my imagination to accomplish my goals and my dreams?
And so what I would say to that is we as human beings are creative by nature, right? And so we are manifesting literally multiple times a day. We just don't realize it, that it's our thoughts driving what we think. So someone says to me, how do you change your thoughts? Well, number one, is you got to become aware of what the heck your thoughts are in the first place. So you need to stop when you're thinking something and think, did I just really say that to myself? That I'm too stupid, I'm too fat, it's too late, I'm too old. And you've got to catch that with awareness first. Once you become aware of the thought, then you can start to shift out of it. Now, your question was how, right? Well, we have my co-author and I were both transformational teachers and mentors. And so we have a system whereby we say to you, identify the thought. So the thought might be, I can't ask for that raise. I don't have the right education. Who am I, right? So you take that thought, but what you do is you add the belief that you really want to think. So you take it from, who am I to ask for a raise because I don't have the education, to who am I not to step up in my highest light and ask for that raise. So you catch it, you identify it, and then you insert the belief that you actually want to be thinking.
So it's like reframing, if you will. Is that what we're doing? So it's like reframing, transformation by reframing the thoughts. And the thoughts are, so I guess based on your example, that thought is going to lead to a different type of action, which hopefully is the actual step forward to go ask for the raise, right?
Listen, I'll give you my personal story. I'll snapshot it for your audience. So I knew from the age of 15 years old, I wanted to be a TV host, right? Not an actor, but give me a microphone, give me a carpet, give me something to present, and I'm there. And because I was a little bit following society and thought, who am I, Canadian girl from the Midwest of Canada, to go to Hollywood? At the age of 20, I convinced myself out of it. So instead, I went into like corporate America and I did the thing that we're all supposed to do, right? Get the education, get the job, get the raise, get the corner office. And 10 years went by and all of a sudden, I'm almost 30. I'm looking around going, how did I end up in this corporate job where I was doing finance? My dreams aren't really being realized. I'm not really being fulfilled. Now what? And so at 30, I was like, awesome. I'm going to go to Hollywood. I'm going to do it. And then the self-doubt started talking to me. Well, you're too late now. It's too old. You can't go. You should have gone 10 years ago. There's always that negation. So what do? You need to catch it and say, is this really what I want? Or is this just my fear trying to keep me safe?
Now, so, let's back up here because you took a big step. You actually picked up your location and moved to Hollywood. That's a major big step. Like, you got to have some big ones to go move to Hollywood. And you didn't know if this dream was going to manifest. It's expensive to live out there. All of those things were probably coming at you in terms of your thoughts. Like, what if this doesn't work? Hollywood, what are people going to think? So
how did you think is a big one, right?
Yeah, exactly. In Hollywood. So how did you handle that?
So I think there's two things that separate people that actually go for it, Rodney. One is passion. But it's not passion alone. You need hunger. You need that hunger for that dream. Passion is great. And you can have some passion, but you could also get tired and think, you know what, I'm going to go watch Netflix now because I'm kind of passionate out. But if you have a hunger, and that hunger usually comes as fuel because you're doing something of service for others.
Mm-hmm. And so I guess, is that the harness though? Because you need the hunger. I think there's some hungry people out there, if you will, that they really want to do it. I want to really focus on the how, because I want people to go out and buy this book. I'm going to buy this book. I want to understand how to unleash my infinite potential. And so I'm hoping there's some tools and strategies in there. And I do believe in hunger. I believe in going for it, being adamant, being committed, not taking no for an answer. And that's the hunger that we're talking about here, right? And you can really harness your hunger. Okay, you can take that and let that be your driving force. It's your engine, right? But then you have to navigate, right, everything that comes along. And so that trips people up sometimes.
I was going to say, you know that better than anyone, right? Something can come along, you're going to have to figure out how to deal with it.
Yeah. So
one of my biggest tips to people, I just said to us, have awareness around your thought, identify the negative thought, and shift it with a positive belief. The problem is, the first thing your brain is going to say is that's bullshit. Like, if you go from, I don't have enough money, to wealth is on its way to me, your mind is going to be like, that's bullshit, because you've been poor for 10 years. It's not happening. So what I ask people to do, and what a great exercise is, in front of that new belief, put the words, I now choose to believe. So I now choose to believe the wealth is on its way to me. What that does is your mind's going, okay, well, since you're choosing to believe it now, it's okay. If you just go straight into the new belief, your BS buzzer's going to go off. So, for example, think about it. If you say to yourself enough times, I think the sky is blue, I now think the sky is blue, I choose to now think the sky is blue, eventually the sky's going to be blue. So eventually you'll convince your subconscious mind you can absolutely do it.
I love this because I was just having a conversation with someone just the other day. There was a post that said, I think it was revolving around perception is everything, something like that. I don't remember exactly. I wish I remember exactly what that post said, because at the end, that's the result we got to, is that perception, everything.
And Marianne Williamson, the author, yes. Right? So sure. Marianne Williamson, I had the opportunity to interview her about a year ago. And she said, Katerina, the thing that I believe in is pronoia. And I'm going, pronoia? And she's going, the opposite of paranoia. Pronoia is you assume that the entire universe is pro your success and absolutely coming to you at the table, versus the paranoia of this and that and everything else, that negative down energy. So yeah, people, pronoia.
Well, a lot of people would think that that's BS. There you go. See, there's that thought. Yeah, and I see why people would do that, because I'm thinking about the audience. I'm thinking about people from all walks of life that have different obstacles and challenges, and they may want to move out to Hollywood, but they know they wouldn't. They may feel that they would never ever move to Hollywood, and that's the thought, and that's something that's with them. It stays with them, and it to turn that around, and then here we are on the Game Changer Mentality podcast. This is where you heard it. And we're saying, tell yourself that one day you're going to be staying in Hollywood. I can see that person like, please don't change the channel. There's more. We're going to show you how to do this,
You know what my one advice to people is, and this is what I find stops people. When you meet someone, you have an instant automatic reaction to them. You have about a half a second, all of us do, have about a half a second to make a first impression. Within 2 seconds, that first impression starts going towards the negative. So what you want to do is you want to come to the table with as much energy as you can and really just feel into, what am I contributing? Like, if you always come from an energy of contribution, and I'm not saying like go out and feed the homeless, but I'm saying come with an energy to be present for whoever you're in front of, your vibe will shift, and the people that you are attracting will alter.
So let's play with that a little bit, Katerina, because I mean, no, not at all. It's just that I want people to walk away from the show with some practical tools and strategies that they can use in order to be the game changers that they want to be in their life. Because I mean, you and I, we talk all the time, and we see each other, and we know this stuff in and out. And I got it. Let's think about the person who maybe this is their first time being exposed, and maybe they are in mental slavery. And you and I both know mental slavery is a big deal. I mean, let's look at the stats, right? Only 3% of the total population, just in the United States alone, we're not even going to use the other countries, are really making it happen, right? 3% of 7 billion people, very small number. And so what does that mean? Does it mean that the remaining 97% has some mental adjustments that need to be made potentially? Maybe they're held back by the way they think about their goals?
You know what? The thing that I've realized holds a lot of people back. People say, oh, I don't want to be a public speaker. I don't want to get on stage. I don't want to do a podcast. They're not afraid of public speaking. They're afraid of public judgment. It's that public judgment that keeps 97% of people playing small, right? But my biggest piece of advice to anyone watching is you have to dare to suck or you'll remain stuck. What I mean is you're never going to know how to do something perfectly the first time you try it. So you have to try and you have to fail. Think about this. How many of you guys listening have ever snowboarded, right? And even if you've never snowboarded, right, pretend you can pretend the first time you go out on that ski hill, right? And you've got these like, oh my God, like ideas of grandeur, like I'm gonna go and I'm gonna be awesome. And the first time you get out on the snow with that board, you fall on your butt. And you get up and you fall on your butt. And you get up and you fall on your butt. You can't go 2 feet that day without falling on your butt. So at the end of that day, you have a choice. You can either take your little bruised butt and your big bruised ego and go back out on the hill the next day, or you can give up. But you've got to go through that motion of, I might suck at this, before you can move forward in life.
And you've said something so powerful. It's not the fear of failing. I believe this with everything. I don't care what it is. It's making money, investing, relationships, business, promotion, whatever it is. It's not so much you are afraid of failing. You are afraid of the judgment that you're going to face because you fail.
Yes.
And it's unfortunate that's the society that we live in, is that we do look at people that are second. If you are second, you don't get the recognition. You don't get the recognition. You don't get everything that, you truly deserve. You don't get the pat on the back because you're second. You have to win in America in order to be somebody. And it's so unfortunate, but that's not the mindset that we have to adopt.
Right.
We choose that. And I know society places that upon us because of the world that we live in, but it's truly to our detriment to take that on.
Rodney, I came to Los Angeles. I knew nobody. I knew nothing. And because I was working in media for about 10 years, I had good communication skills. So I managed to get myself in front of an agent, okay? I bombed it so bad. Never go get an agent if you don't know what you're doing yet. So I had this massive opportunity in front of one of the biggest talent agents in LA. Bombed it. I cried all the way home. But you know what I did? I got up the next day and I went back out there. And I got up the day and I went back out there. 3 years I spent, 3 years cultivating how to show up on camera. And you know what? Now I am hosting my own talk show. I own my own media company. I'm a best-selling author. I'm a professional speaker. I have my dream car that I drive down Rodeo Drive. And I'm thinking, what would I have been doing if I hadn't taken that leap? You know, it's important.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a mental trap, isn't it?
It
you
is.
know, because a lot of times we live because of what someone thinks about us. You know what I mean? We'll do or not do certain things because someone may judge us or because of what someone thinks about us. And you talk about mental slavery, that's bondage. You know what I mean? And you are truly trapped when you can't move beyond what someone is going to think about you in order to pursue your dreams. And to be honest, whenever you are trying to pursue something that's worthwhile pursuing, like your big dream, it requires doing certain things like you had to do. Like you had to go back and face the same people who said you suck, the day before.
And, I'll tell you something, there's still the haters out there, Rodney. Sometimes they come from your own family.
I know.
These are the people that are supposed to be super excited for me. So you have to just try and allow that to filter out. You got to just allow yourself to go get out of the mental and get into the heart space. Like, what is your soul asking for? And another thing that helps, right? If you're feeling that, I don't know if I can make this change. And let's say you're 35 and you're looking around going, take some time and write yourself a letter from the age of 90. So talk to that 90-year-old man is going to talk to the 35-year-old that might be thinking, maybe it's a little bit too late. What do you think he'd say to that 35-year-old? He'd be like, you're young, you're vibrant, you're energetic, you've got so much time. What in the heck? The 35-year-old's thinking, it's too late, I'm too old. No, so you've got to change your perspective. So get out of your head, write yourself a letter. That one actually really helps.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty good because we act based on what we think. And a lot of times what we're thinking is from a headspace. We're thinking about what the neighbors are going to say. We're thinking about what my mom is going to say, what family is going to say, what the folks at the bank are going to say, what are my friends going to say?
Those are realistic, right? Like people say to me, Katerina, I've got bills to pay. I've got a mortgage to pay. I can't just jump and hope that, the universe takes care of me. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying jump and get up at 4 a.m. and bust your ass because you're going to need to. But this is one piece of advice I want to share with people that might be thinking of chasing their dream. How do they chase their dream? So 2 examples real quick. You've got 2 mountains, Mountain A and Mountain B. On Mountain A is where you've been scaling for 20 years. You're an accountant and you ran the ranks and now you're at the pinnacle of this accounting career, but you're bored to death, right? And you're like, Jesus, I always wanted to be a writer. I just did. But now I'm 42. How am I going to switch careers? And you go here, and this Mountain B is the writing career. And you're going, shit, for me to jump from this summit to this summit, I'm going to have to go down and up, and I'm tired, and the whole thing. People forget how many skills are actually transferable from Mountain A to Mountain B. So you're not going from the top to the bottom. You're going from the top to about 70% across because you're bringing communication skills, managerial skills, leadership skills, accounting skills, life skills. So people get scared to jump without recognizing all the things they've already got.
Katerina Cozias in the studio with us today. Katerina, tell us how people can reach you if they wanted to contact you.
Yeah, absolutely. So easiest place is via my website. It's katerinacozias.com. It's just my name. And if you want to pick up my book, and it's available on Amazon. I would highly recommend it for summer reading, guys. It's really chocked up full of little tips like the ones we went through today.
And that's what we're talking about. We're giving you little tools and strategies that will increase your mental toughness. And some of these things may sound a little harsh. They may seem a little hard to do. And you know what? I get it. they felt that way to me too. And I'm sure they felt that way to Katerina at some point in time. But here's the thing. As you begin to implement these tools and implement these strategies into your life, you find that they become easier and there's an awakening. And so you become more self-aware. And as Katerina was talking about, it doesn't matter what age you are. I mean, you started on your career at the age of 40. Were you 40 when you started?
I was 39 when I moved to Hollywood. Yeah. 30.
Wow. So you were pivoting. You were going after a new career, a new dream. You're like,
I couldn't go to the age of 90, Rodney, and not find it. It was time to come to Hollywood, and I'm so glad I did. But 40 years old. But
wow.
I talked to people. I was mentoring a girl the other day, and she's 25, and she was saying to me, "I'm too young. People aren't going to take me seriously." And I'm thinking, I used to think I'm too old. You think you're too young. You think you're too tall. I think I'm too short. Why are we allowing the negative, right? What do we really want to think?
You know, I was talking to someone not very long ago about the way we talk to ourselves. And we don't see ourselves as the powerful beings that we are. And I was really taking the conversation to a place where we are created by the Most High. The energy that created us is the cause and effect of itself. It can neither be created nor destroyed, right? And we are made in that likeness. We're made in that kindness. And so we're not the same power, but we possess some of those capabilities, right? But we don't see ourselves as that. And we allow this different type of thinking, this negative, downgrading and condescending type of thought process to enter our minds.
Society has done an excellent job of convincing us that we are not enough, right? You need to buy this car. You need to buy this hair detergent. You need to buy this to be enough. So we've convinced society that we're not enough when really everything is coming from a heart space. I know that sounds hoity-toity, you guys. Trust me, I spent 10 years in corporate finance, 10 years in global media, and I'm on the West Coast, and sometimes I look at myself and think, how woo-woo is this? But it's not. It's actually just coming into an understanding, like you said, that all things are matter and energy and can't be created, can't be destroyed. So if it's that fluid, why can't we fluidly move out the negative thoughts and fluidly bring in the positive?
Well, I think it's identity crisis. Honestly, I think it's identity crisis, right? And I think that we're so untuned with who we are that we try to be. We always have to be something. Right. And that's why all those products can sell, right? Because you want this type of hair so you can be this. You want this so you can be that. When all you have to do is be yourself. You don't need all of that stuff. Be in your uniqueness and be powerful in that. But we're not comfortable enough with that. We always feel like we have to be more than what we truly
and don't forget, though, too, again, we were conformed as a society to don't be too shiny, don't be too loud, don't be. So by the time you're in 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, they've taken everyone, they've tried to make everyone feel like they've got to be the same. When instead, we should absolutely be celebrating our unique abilities. Absolutely.
And so what have you found about yourself as you've celebrated your uniqueness, or I should say discovered, because maybe you're celebrating it now. So what have you discovered? And this, I'm not toot your horn if you want to, right? I mean, because I don't think we have enough people living that example, right? And then when we do, sometimes people say they're snobby or they're cocky or they're conceited, but I don't think that this is what that's what this is about. What we're really saying is express yourself, right? And so what have you found about yourself that has been so unique, that has been life-changing for you?
So the biggest thing, when I allowed myself the mental permission to take that step, right? It took me 2 years to quit my job and implode my life. When we give ourselves the mental permission to take that step, what that means is we really are starting to value ourselves. And when we value ourselves, we can come to the table with an authenticity that people can feel. But it's hard in this Insta story, Insta snapshot, make myself look like a shiny diamond world. Right? How do we allow ourselves to be authentic? By extending a hand down to those that are on their way to the journey.
I love that. And then authentic, because you have the fake everything. And I'm not going to get into that, right? We have to fake everything. Go ahead.
And in my talk show that I host, right? People say, well, Katerina, what does LA 40 mean? And it's a play on the words Los Angeles and life after 40. Because I was authentically moving into my 40s. And I thought, well, if I want to be a talk show host, what am I going to talk about? Like fashion? Not really me. beauty products, not really me. WWE, not really me. But what's me? This questioning, fear, anxiety, excitement for getting into my 40s and 50s. I developed a whole show around it because there are so many of us Gen Xers, 64 million of us, that are kind of looking around to see what can we do differently in the latter half.
Well, and at 40, most of us are thinking that we're starting to look back. What have I not done in my life? Have I made the right decisions in my life? So when you get 40, you start to think you're more mature. You're at a place where you're starting to look at life a little bit differently, right? And that can be frightening or exciting for some of us. It's a pivotal place in life.
Yeah, and I think we just have to step into our own confidence and our own charisma. People look at people on TV and they think, oh, well, he's got charisma. I don't have that. He's got that. I don't have that. Bullshit. Does Brad Pitt have any more charisma than the rest of us? No. He just decided one day that it was time to step into that.
And just to add on to that, I mean, because we're talking about identifying your uniqueness and your own identity, there's this thing called cultivating, right? I mean, and when you brought up Brad Pitt, I mean, I'm sure he spent countless hours doing whatever he had to do.
The guy that would put on the chicken suit on the corner of Sunset and La Cienega. And he was
How do you love that?
Guy.
How do you love that?
I came to Hollywood and I was driving around with like little Tupperwares of food because I was like in between jobs, and I'm thinking, I don't know how long I'm going to be in between jobs. And I went from like up here to eating in my car, my little Tupperware. Like, now look. So you got to make some sacrifices if you believe in yourself.
Anyone can do it. I think that's the message here. Anyone can do that. And so how important to you is being aware of yourself and self-dialogue and the things that you say to yourself? Like, how important to you is that?
It's all self-dialogue, you guys. When they say, watch what you say, because words really do have the power to shift your reality. If you say to yourself every day, oh, shit, I have no money, I have no money, I have no money, I have no money. You're bringing in this vibration where the universe is going to say to you, you're right, you have no money. So any opportunity to make money is not going to sit with you. Start changing that to, I now choose to believe that making thousands of dollars a day is easy. So if you say to yourself, I'm going to make thousands of dollars a day, your mind's going to say bullshit. But if you say, I now choose to believe that I can make $1,000 a day, that's a different vibration. You start to believe it after a while.
And so you think that what holds people back is they talk to themselves and the dialogue that they have creates certain types of beliefs? Is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you've got to switch what your belief is. And it literally is, guys, it doesn't take years. You don't have to go spend a ton of time with the psychiatrist. But if you're always believing, oh, women never stay with me, then what are you doing subconsciously to make sure that women never stay with you, right? If you shift that to, I now choose to believe I'm the man, and you say that to yourself a few times a day for a month, guess what? We're going to see you walking on the street with some hot blonde and going, who is that guy?
We're going to be creating Playboys after this show is over.
What kind of show is this?
So how did you overcome your own limiting beliefs? I mean, is that the strategy that you enforced? The
biggest exercise was that 80-year-old exercise. I just looked at myself at 39 and I thought, Katerina, you're young and you're cute and you're vibrant and you're energetic. Like, imagine going through life and looking yourself in the mirror at 90 and going, I wish I had played the game differently, right? Why? Why not play the game you really want to play?
And how did that make you feel?
Scared as shit.
And so that boosted you into action, or
Yeah, that boosted me into kind of like that adrenaline rush, and you can choose to see it as fear, or you can choose to relabel it as courage, right? So I chose that this is going to be my courage. I'm going to go out there. I might fall flat on my face. I did fall flat on my face, and I just kind of stuck to that. I got to do it, man. I got to give it my 100%. If you give it 100%, doesn't matter what happens. You've got that feeling of fulfillment.
There's a term that you keep using, and I'm hoping the audience is catching it because I'm definitely catching it. It's choose. I chose, or you have to choose. And a lot of your techniques, they are preceded with I chose or you have to choose. So talk to us about that.
So it's all about the way you choose to view your life, your perspective, and your reframe. Something had happened to you. You could put a big black frame around it and make yourself the victim. Or you could decide, okay, that happened. Let me put a pink frame around it and see what I can do. Now, again, when I was hearing all this stuff, I was going like, bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. But the more I put some of these things into practice, I'll give you an example. So last year, I was up for this big position to host Super Bowl, the NFL experience at Super Bowl. Big opportunity, right? I was down from like 400 to 12 to 8, and they were picking 5. They call me a week later, and they said, you know what, we loved you, but we're not going to go with you. We're sorry. And I was really devastated. But then I thought, you know what, Katerina, things happen for a reason. Just instead of wallowing in your pity, that's okay. Something else is coming down the pipe. Rodney, the next day, I get a call from a company saying, we have media credentials and we need someone to host from the red carpet at the Oscars, at Elton John's Oscar party. Can you go? And it was that same weekend. So I am much more of a red carpet fashion girl than I was an NFL girl. I never knew that. So if I had allowed myself to get pissy and upset and vulnerable and victim-y, maybe the other call wouldn't have come. But I was like, you know what? Highest good. It's all working out for my highest good.
And so, I mean, another thing that I'm picking up from you is that emotion that is created from disappointment. If we're not careful, you're saying it can block certain things from coming in, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
Talk to us about that.
All right. So what happens is, talk about this thing called vibration, right? So higher vibrating thoughts, when you're happy, when you're joyful, when you're excited, they're lighter. They're actually thoughts. They've been able to measure thoughts in the density. Lighter thoughts are actually lighter. Denser thoughts, I'm sad, I'm depressed, I'm the victim, are actually physically denser. What happens is your aura, again, has the ability, when you're vibrating higher and lighter, to absorb more. So you're getting ideas, you're getting intuition, you're getting feedback. When you're vibing down here, you're blocking all of that. It can't even come. So you're perpetuating being in that downward spiral. You have to do what you need to do to get yourself vibing high. You need to work, but you don't feel like it for half an hour, then take a half an hour break. Vibe, what's going to lift your vibration, 100% important.
So give us the tools. Give the audience some tools on things that they can do. Yeah. You know, they can take a half an hour break, got that. But what are some other things like deliberately that we can do to raise our vibration?
Absolutely. Most people hate their jobs, Rodney, right?
Yep.
So, yeah, most people are not happy with their job, or they got to get up, or they got to go. So the first thing I would do when you get up and you go to work on Monday morning or whatever, your next Monday, I want you to look at, what do I love about my job and what do I hate? What can I delegate out? Meaning, what can I get off my plate that I don't enjoy doing, right? Maybe you hate the social media part. Maybe you hate the accounting part. What can you do to take that off of you, even if it means a few extra bucks, to allow yourself to be happier and more content with your day? Anything that's not making you happy and content, figure out what you can do to move it aside. And you'll automatically start to bounce lighter.
Now, I love that. And I practice that in my daily routine every day. And I'm thinking about my audience, because there are some people that are dealing with some things more than just starting a new business, trying to climb the corporate ladder or increase their cash flow. I mean, my audience, some of them may be dealing with marital issues. Maybe they contemplating divorce or in the middle of one, right? Maybe there's substance abuse, maybe there's addiction, maybe there's some heavy stuff, right? So what would you say to that person? Same question. What would you say in terms of raising their vibration? Yes.
So the biggest thing that people say that works, and I found this as evidence in my own life, don't look at your surroundings around you, right? Look at, what would I rather have my reality be? And the only way you're going to look at what that is you create it in your mind, right? Let's say you had a tragic accident and all of a sudden you couldn't walk, right? Okay, that was your reality in the moment, but what did you want your life to be like, right? You probably were visioning yourself walking, exercising, moving, doing, and guess what, Rodney? That became your reality. So when people say, I'm stuck, it's like, no, you're not. It's infinitely open. Just decide what you want and allow the universe, allow consciousness, allow God to bring in the how. Our job is just to identify the what.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're not talking about a magic wand either. I love what you're saying. You're totally dead on. I'm in complete agreement with you. And it doesn't happen overnight. It takes constant keeping that vision in front of you and working towards that. You just can't have the vision, but there's action that you have to take every single day, sometimes all day. I mean, and this has to become a part of you. And this really is what we're calling the creative process. That's how it works. And the start of it goes back to the beginning of the conversation when we talked about imagination. I think we're back full circle now. Your imagination is the tool that you use to create the vision. You know, you talk about being stuck or being unhappy. All right, well, use your imagination to create what would make you happy. Where would you want to be right now? Where would you want to go? What type of life would you want to live? What kind of house would you want to have? What kind of spouse would you want to have? Right? I mean, down to the details, right? And then maintain that vision, right? Every day, look at that. And what you'll find is you'll start working towards that. And if you can feel good about it, just as Katerina just explained to us, you start opening up the windows of the universe to bring things in that aligns with that vision, and you'll find that your life will truly begin to change. I mean, would you agree with that?
Yes, and we are, as human beings, we are designed to live a life that is graceful, flowing, easy, blissful. We have decided as a culture to make life be about suffering, and it doesn't have to be. Right? We get to choose what it is. Now, yeah, as you said, is it going to happen right away? No, it's not. Sofia Vergara, okay, I'm going to give you guys an example. Sofia Vergara, from the age of 20, was like modeling, trying to get into acting. She knew in her mind she was destined to be something great. 20s went by, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, nothing. All of a sudden, 37 years old, boom, she gets cast. And her career, within 5 years, she's got $450 million. And again, I'm not talking about just monetary, but she saw herself in that position. It took her 20 years to make that a realization, but she bloody knew it.
Time is going to pass anyways, you know, and I think a lot of people may hear that and say, well, gosh, that's 20 years. She had to work on it for 20 years. But guess what? 20 years are going to go by anyway. Right? You're not going to stay 18 forever. You're not going to stay 20 forever. You're not going to stay 25 forever, right? Time is going to pass. So why not be focusing on a particular goal or a dream that could potentially be any and everything that you want in your life? Mm-hmm. Why not be focusing on that while the time is passing by? To me, that puts everything in your favor. The ball is bouncing towards you, for you, whenever you do that. That's my opinion.
In pronoia.
Wow, that's a new one. I love that. It's all about how you perceive this stuff as well. I mean, if you're looking at life and all you can see is the struggle, then all you're going to get is the struggle. I mean, I was just, like I said, I was talking to someone about this, you know, before. They said perception is everything. I can look at a certain situation, right, and I can see the greatness in it. Someone else can look at that same situation and all they see is struggle and defeat.
But which mind would you want to be running around inside?
That's where I'm going. Exactly. And I believe that in everything, there's something good. There's something to come. Because I don't believe that we were put here to suffer. We were put here to have less. I believe that we were here to have a life and life abundantly.
Yes.
We don't choose it, though. That's not what we choose.
But think about this. Nature is inherently abundant. Like, I want everyone later to look outside. How many leaves are on the trees? Right? Just look at that. If you focus every day when you're driving down the street on how many leaves, on how many trees, you can just start to shift into this understanding that there is abundance in health, abundance in wisdom, abundance in service, abundance in opportunity. Why not choose to feel abundant? That's the only way abundance is going to come into your life.
And that's a mentality. And it's a mentality that you can choose. I mean, and it's readily available. You don't have to go get a degree to choose this. You don't have to be a certain age. Like, all you have to do is just become aware of what's already there.
And catch yourself in the moment and say, you know, is this thought making me happy? Jump out of yourself and think, why would I want to be walking around not happy? But it comes down to awareness of your internal self-dialogue, you know.
So how can people become more aware? Because a lot of this stuff is habitual. People have been doing this for 40, 50 years, and all of a sudden we're saying, hey, become aware. So how do they do that?
So what I recommend is to start walking around and do this for 30 days. If you kind of feel like you're stuck and you don't know why, it's probably your internal self-dialogue. So I want you to grab a little pad of paper and walk around with it. Every time you notice a negative thought, and actually that's not even right, because you're right. How do you notice it? So what you do is you consciously 3 times a day about 9:30 in the morning when you're at work, about 1 o'clock when you're getting back from lunch, about 5 o'clock when you're leaving. Catch and go to a restroom and write down, what was I thinking this morning? Was I thinking that Sally looked nice in that shirt, or was I thinking that Bob's an idiot, right? Either way, write it down. And at the end of the day, you look at it, you kind of start to tally how many thoughts were positive or negative. The goal is to then start becoming aware of that daily. By about day 7, you'll start to see that you're thinking Bob's an idiot every day. So, then you become aware that that's a thought pattern for you. Then you have the opportunity to change it. But you can't become aware unless you consciously focus on writing down, what am I thinking, a few times a day, and seeing what you're thinking.
And that will probably be shocking for most people, right? To write down, to log your thoughts.
Yeah.
I mean, because we think, especially for those of you that have commutes, like, this may be a little hilarious.
When you're on the drive to work, right? How many negative thoughts are you thinking? The government sucks. This guy in front of me is an idiot. He's, that guy's probably a tax evader. Well, catch all that. And why not think that man might be going to build his dream? You know what I'm saying? It's that simple to catch up, but you've got to make a conscious game of it. And only then are you going to become aware of what's going on.
And when you become aware, especially for those that have